Well, let's get your top story, and that's the suspense over Karnataka's next Chief Minister, and that continues as the Congress's High Command is yet to announce its decision after a massive win in the southern state on Saturday.
So hectic meetings here in the national capital as both top contenders Siddaramaiah and DK Shivakumar are here in the national capital. Yesterday both of them met Congress President Mallikarjun Kharge, who also separately held meetings with Congress observers and the High Command. Now the big twist is that DK Shivakumar says that he will not back down and not take his hat out of the ring as far as the race for this top job is concerned. Sources tell NDTV that Siddaramaiah has the numbers as majority of MLAs are backing him.
That's right, Vedant. Mallikarjun Kharge is set to make his decision after consulting with UPA chairperson Sonia Gandhi as well as Rahul Gandhi and going through the Congress Central Observers. This was a report that was submitted, but that big question being who will be the next Chief Minister, given that Siddaramaiah, according to sources like Vedant mentioned, has the numbers, but DK Shivakumar is not backing down. That decision is to be made and that announcement will be made in Bengaluru, but both the leaders continue to be here in Delhi having that meeting with Mallikarjun Kharge.
Hopefully today, much depends on whether Mr. DK Shivakumar and Mr. Siddaramaiah agree to some kind of power sharing. What we have been told is, and this is something that Mr. DK Shivakumar has not agreed upon, about sharing power. That you give the first 2 years or 3 years to 2.5 years to Mr. Siddaramaiah and then the rest to Mr. Shivakumar, and that's something that he has consistently, not today, for the last year, been refusing, and he's quite determined that this time he should be given the top job. So it's in that backdrop that we will have to wait and see if things do find a way forward. Much will depend on how Mr. DK Shivakumar agrees. The fact is that the Congress leadership has a huge test ahead in terms of trying to resolve this matter, but they are meeting again today. Mr. Kharge will continue his consultations, and hopefully in the next few hours we might be able to get some kind of final decision, depending on whether somebody backs down, either Mr. Siddaramaiah or Mr. DK Shivakumar. Wherever you have a power sharing agreement, sometimes the earlier Chief Minister finds it extremely difficult to give up power, and that's been the case in point is Mr. Bhupesh Baghel, who has now well entrenched himself within the Chhattisgarh as the Chief Minister, and so much so that they haven't been able to implement the power sharing agreement. So it's in that same backdrop now that if you have a power sharing agreement, will it be followed in letter and spirit? Mr. DK Shivakumar believes that this is not acceptable to him. And he's going to continue to fight till the very end for what he believes is his, reward after serving the party loyally and bringing it back and getting this massive majority. Even though, as we've been consistently saying, Mr. Siddaramaiah is the front runner and has the majority of MLAs in terms of support. Whatever decision might be taken out here, but the democratic process is that the leader will be announced at the CLP meeting, which will be held in Bangalore. It will be a unanimous resolution, and then they will go and stake claim with the governor and then get ready for the other formalities in terms of government formation. So that's definitely something that needs to be done, but it's definitely not going to be done. You have to respect the mandate of the Karnataka people. The decision must be taken in Bangalore itself, even though Mr. Kharge will be working and trying to resolve this within the High Command in terms of finding a way forward, because there have been, a difference of opinion within the party and the party structure to really see what is the best way forward. There is definitely no unanimity about how they go about that process. So please be rest assured it will be done in Bangalore.
Now, Divya, as we were discussing, Siddaramaiah is being seen as a front runner for Karnataka, for the Karnataka top job, given that, of course, it's being seen that he has the support of majority of MLAs. Now, he's being seen as a troubleshooter of the Congress for several decades now, given the fact that he's a veteran. So, in fact, let's take a closer look at his career, his over 40-decade-long career, and as the Congress's troubleshooter.
He had made it very clear from the beginning he was in the running for the top job in Karnataka. And Siddaramaiah has got it. After a tug of war with party chief DK Shivakumar, the veteran politician who openly said this is his last electoral contest was the top choice of the voters in the NDTV CSTS survey during the election campaign.
As far as I am concerned, electoral politics is my last election. This is going to be my last election.
He was first elected to Karnataka Assembly in 1983. In 1994, Siddaramaiah became the Deputy Chief Minister of the state in the Janata Dal government. And again, 10 years later, in 2004, as a part of JDS government, until he was expelled in 2005 after falling out with H.D. Devegowda. Siddaramaiah then joined the Congress party 2 years later in 2008, and he was appointed the Chief Minister after the Congress won the 2013 Assembly polls.
ಯಾಕಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಜನರು ಬೇಸತ್ತಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಬಿಜೆಪಿ ವಿರುದ್ಧ ಅವರ ಭ್ರಷ್ಟಾಚಾರ ಅವರ ದುರಾಡಳಿತ ಅವರ ಜನವಿರೋಧಿ ನೀತಿ ಮತ್ತೆ ಅಭಿವೃದ್ಧಿ ಏನು ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡದೆ ಅಂತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು ಇವರಿಂದ ಜನ ಬೇಸತ್ತಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಜನ ಬದಲಾವಣೆ ಬಯಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ನಾನು ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೆ ಬಹುಶಃ ಅದು ಅದೇ ರೀತಿ ಜನ ತೀರ್ಪು ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ನನಗೆ ಅನಿಸುತ್ತೆ.
In the election campaign, Siddaramaiah has had to extricate himself from a bit of a hole after talking about a corrupt Lingayat Chief Minister, trying to explain that he was talking about current Chief Minister Basavaraj Bommai in particular and was not insulting the electorally important Lingayat community. Siddaramaiah comes from the Kurba caste, the third biggest chunk of the voters after Lingayats and Vokaligas. The war horse, along with DK Shivakumar, ran a relentless anti-corruption and focused pro-poor campaign in the state to topple the BJP. And now the party has trusted him once again.
Now, after losing the only southern bastion, the outgoing Chief Minister says that Congress was more organised and started early, while the BJP took decisions slightly late and acted late, Vedant.
That's right. So here he says that the Congress was more organised and significantly says that the BJP must already start preparing for the 2024 polls. Listen in to this exclusive.
Joining me now is outgoing Chief Minister of Karnataka, Mr. Basavaraj Bommai, who led the Bharatiya Janata Party's campaign from the front. Well, a disappointing defeat for him. But, sir, what is perhaps the lesson that you learned from this, personally and politically, from the results?
See, basically, the people were swayed away by freebies, number one. Number two, personally, I feel that Congress were more organized and started earlier, which otherwise BJP used to do. And we took our decisions little late. And the campaign, the narration, which were we are supposed to be in the forefront, we could not. So the right messaging didn't go to the people. And our programs, even though they reached, the narration should have been set in. Some of our major decisions were also not reached the people. However, it was a hard-fought battle, and if you look into the vote shares, there is no much difference. But it didn't convert us the seats. And the second major factor is that our penetration in southern Karnataka helped Congress, where JDS had a strong hold, and we were able to penetrate most of the JDS areas, which helped the Congress otherwise. 5% of JDS shifted to Congress. So these two factors really helped Congress.
So going forward, as BJP prepares to be an opposition party, what do you think are the core lessons for the party? One of the reasons why I'm asking you this question is that there was a sense that there were many different decision makers in the BJP in these elections. One set from Delhi, there was pressures from several state leaders. Is there one person above all that you believe, I know you've taken responsibility, one person above all you think is responsible for the defeat and perhaps something the party needs to change as it goes forward?
As you yourself said, I had led it from the front. And I take the entire blame. I don't want to blame any other person. Whatever might have happened, but ultimately the leader has to take a blame. Then only things can move on, improve. We have to recognize our mistakes, do the course correction, and we have to go forward. The major thing is that we have to do the party, prepare it quite early for Lok Sabha, and then we have to bring in some new blood and new thinking at all levels, and we have to regenerate our workers, and probably within next 3 to 6 months things will be changing and will favoring us, and especially it's a Lok Sabha election, and it will be Prime Minister at the helm of affairs, and without any much leader of credibility in the opposition will also play an important role. But however, to convert that goodwill into this thing, we have to learn a lessons from assembly, start it early, more well-oiled party machinery, and with all full steam and full commitment, you have to go ahead.
What about the leader of opposition's post? Now that's going to be the next pick, this one. Do you see that for yourself? How do you see this? How do you see BJP as an opposition party now?
See, as a responsible man, I don't go by the post. Whether the leader of opposition is given to me or somebody else. The overall responsibility is on me. I'm being a Chief Minister for nearly almost 2 years and given so many good programs. It is for me to take it up once again to the people, and I am sure people of Karnataka have been making a difference between Lok Sabha and this state elections. When Ramakrishna Kharge lost in 83, 84, we came back. In 2013, we lost much badly than this. We came back in 2014. So we are expecting that we will come back in 2014. Whatever the role will be given by the party, otherwise also, I'll take up a lot of responsibility and I'll go to the people.
And with that, time for us to slip into a short break. On the other side, we'll get you more news and updates.
Stay tuned. Welcome back. The Supreme Court will hear Bihar government's plea challenging a Patna High Court order granting a stay on the cost survey it has been conducting.
The Nitish Kumar government contends a huge loss would be caused if the exercise is stopped. The state government said that the stay will adversely affect the entire exercise. Now, this is the Patna High Court order which has been challenged in the Supreme Court. The Patna High Court order had stayed the caste-based census in Bihar. Let's get you the latest from the situation in Manipur. Now, of course, our focus remains on the fallout of the violence. Now, remember, yesterday the centre had said that nobody involved in the violence would be spared. But the latest is that the internet suspension has been extended by 5 more days by the state administration there in Manipur. The situation on the ground remains calm. It's very important to point out that these images that you see on your screen are earlier images. These are images from when the violence had broken out in the northeastern state.
Now, the social media is being used in order to spread misinformation, and all mobile data services and broadband data services have been suspended for 5 days. And like Amit Shah had said, that no one who will be held responsible, nobody will be spared as far as the violence in Manipur is concerned.
And moving to news now from Jammu and Kashmir, the capital city resembles a fortress ahead of the G20 meet. This security has been ramped up ahead of that crucial tourism working group committee meeting, and this also comes close on the heels of terror attacks, 2 terror attacks in Poonch and Rajouri.
Now, in order to ensure that no sleeping module is activated by Pakistan, NIA has been conducting searches in the valley, especially in South Kashmir. 70 raids have been conducted in the first 15 days of this month.
Kashmir is at its highest alert level, with Srinagar scheduled to host a crucial meeting of the G20 Working Group on Tourism from the 22nd to the 25th of May. To keep everyone safe, security forces have put together what they say is an impregnable security grid, with the National Investigating Agency carrying out searches for terrorist sympathizers. There have been 70 search operations this month alone. The National Investigating Agency is looking into concerns that terrorist sympathizers were acting as couriers and may be transporting explosives, including magnetic bombs. The NIA believes that Pakistan has activated as many as 30 foreign terrorists who have been hiding in the valley for a year. Radio intercepts indicate that Pakistani terrorist handlers may be using encrypted messages to communicate. More than a dozen mobile messenger apps used by Pakistani handlers have been banned this month. The summit in Srinagar would be Jammu and Kashmir's first major international event in years and a key part of India's G20 plans. As many as 200 delegates are expected to be a part of it. With Neeta Sharma in New Delhi, Anusuya Mathur for NDTV.
Welcome back. Let's get you a check on the weather situation in the country. Uncomfortably hot and humid conditions are prevailing in parts of Rayalaseema as well as Odisha, West Bengal and Kerala. When we take into account the temperatures, it's very hot and it's extremely humid in parts of Konkan and Goa as well, and that's likely to last till the 18th. That's tomorrow. Heatwave conditions are prevailing at the moment in coastal parts of Andhra Pradesh, and temperatures are expected to rise further by almost 2 to 3 degrees in North India as well as Central India, and that's expected from tomorrow. When we talk about those dust-raising winds that have been prevailing in many parts of the northwest plains, that includes Haryana, Delhi, West Uttar Pradesh as well as Rajasthan, that's going to continue. When we take into account the hottest part of the country, that happens to be Andhra Pradesh, where Redda, Chintala, the temperature has touched 45.2 degrees Celsius, and the temperature in adjoining areas as well is between 43 to 44 degrees Celsius. So is the situation in Odisha, where the temperature is above the 42-43 degree mark. Let's take into account most parts of Andhra Pradesh, where the temperature is in Kakinada, the temperature is 43.8, 44.6 in Kavali, as well as other areas where the temperature has touched 45 degrees. Now, the marker as far as heatwave conditions are concerned, the marker that we need in order to put an end to the heatwave conditions is we need the southwest monsoon to set in, and this time around the wait for the monsoon could be longer, as the monsoon now, according to the IMD, is that the monsoon is only expected to come in on the 4th of June and not its usual date of the 1st of June. However, that's not likely to affect the performance of the monsoon, as according to the Met Office, monsoon is expected to be normal this time around as well. Let's take into account the temperatures that we are seeing, especially in the capital. The temperatures under the 40 degree mark, and that's because of the dust raising winds, the dust storm that we've seen over the last 2 days, and that's going to continue. In fact, showers are expected in certain areas of Delhi. Light rain has started early this morning, and which is why the temperature is below the 40 degree mark and is going to continue to remain such. The dust raising winds are prevailing in Rajasthan as well as Haryana, and the temperature had remained above the 40 degree mark in these certain areas, which is what led to that dust storm. Now, some relief expected, especially in Delhi, because some light rain is expected, which started earlier this morning. That's expected in the course of the day. Tomorrow as well, we expect some rain here in the national capital. when we take into account the temperatures also in Odisha, which have crossed the 42-degree mark. Sambalpur coming in at 44.3. We also have Titlagar coming in at 43.5 degrees Celsius. Now, let's take into account Chennai, where heat wave conditions are likely to intensify. This is with the temperature touching the 40.8 degree mark for the third day. Vellore in the state has hit 42.3 degrees, and the Tamil Nadu government has issued an advisory asking people not to venture out unless it's absolutely necessary. Sam Daniel gets us this report.
Chennai sizzling for the third day with the temperature touching 42.7 degrees. That's 4.3 degrees above the normal. Two-wheeler commuters are the worst hit. It's 1 p.m. Deva, who repairs gym equipment, has 4 more calls to attend across the city.
Very hot, sir. Chennai very hot. Last 10 years not coming this kind of hot.
Arifa and her friends, all visiting bankers, clearly didn't come prepared for Chennai's soaring temperature.
ரொம்ப ஹாட்டா இருக்கு முடியல எவ்வளவு தண்ணி குடிச்சாலும் பத்தல.
Roadside shops selling fruits, juice and ice cream offered a welcome relief. For Lakshana visiting the marina, the ice cream was energizing.
Chennai is hot, so I love to eat ice cream in the Chennai.
I had lots of water and topper can of juices, and I have taken lots of juice of lychee, and it helped me a lot. Yeah, it is too horrible.
Under the scorching sun, Karthik does brisk business serving sugarcane juice. But he says he often suffers sunstroke-like symptoms.
அதிகமா இருக்கு. ஒண்ணும் முடியல வெயில்ல. இருந்தாலும் குடும்ப சூழ்நிலையாக வேலை செய்யறதா இருக்கு.
The public swimming pool along the marina is a super hit, with more than 2,000 people coming for a daily dip. That's nearly triple than normal.
The climate is very hot. It's very peaceful and very cool. In my house, AC is there. It was so hot, so I come here to enjoy it.
Environmentalists blame it on climate change, and the worst is yet to come in Chennai. The Met Office says the temperature could go up by 4 degrees in the next 2 days. The government advisory asks people to step out only if it's absolutely necessary. Wear a cap, use an umbrella and hydrate yourself well. In my case, I've switched to cotton, sleeves up. In Chennai with Edwin, Sam Daniel, Find It TV.
And heat wave conditions expected to intensify there in Chennai. Well, the Great Climate Challenge, this is the Great Climate Change Challenge, is now open, and we're looking to connect with social entrepreneurs, tech innovators, NGOs, young scientists and students. And if you're a climate change warrior or know someone who's doing incredible work in this space, send us your entries to ndtv.com/climate change, and we'll bring some of the most innovative stories to the world. And moving to Maharashtra, where 1,477 heat stroke cases and 12 related deaths this year have been reported. Several districts in the state have recorded a maximum temperature of 40 degrees and above over the past few days. Now, in 2022, that's last year, 31 people had died due to heat stroke compared to 767 in 2022. The highest number of heat stroke patients were recorded in 2023, and 1,477 confirmed cases of heat stroke have been reported in the state of Maharashtra. All the districts and municipalities of the state were instructed to prepare heat action plans in order to curb the situation on hand. And of course, this is the worst crisis that they are facing in a decade. Now, in order to find out more about the do's and don'ts as far as the heat stroke are concerned, we have Dr. Arun Gupta, President of Delhi Medical Council, joining us. Very good morning, sir. If you could, take us through, like we do know heat stroke can be life-threatening. 12 deaths have been reported in the state of Maharashtra this year. Take us through the do's and don'ts in order to avoid a heat stroke.
I think the occurrence of heat stroke is a practically yearly phenomena. And every year, in the beginning of May, we face this kind of situation, particularly in our hospital also. Lots of patients do come with various symptoms and problems related to heat. So, if in a nutshell, I would like to make some comments where people can adopt those methods to prevent heat stroke and other complications related to heat. Number one, as far as possible, please do not venture outside your house in the mid-afternoon, between 2 or 4, 5 p.m. when the heat is the maximum. If possible, you can reschedule your meetings or other work in the morning or evening hour. And in case you have to go outside because of some urgent work or some unavoidable circumstances, please make sure some certain precautions you do take, like you wear light clothes, like loose clothes, and you can use sunglasses also, you can use sunscreens also, and you can use some hats also to prevent heat. These are the precautions you can take if you have to venture out in the afternoon also. And as far as food and hydration, they are the two important things. Nutrition is concerned, please avoid eating stale food or leftover foods, because if the food is kept at room temperature for maybe half an hour or longer than that, bacteria do grow there and it can cause some infections. And secondly, do not eat outside as far as possible. And even if you have to eat outside, please make sure certain kinds of food you have to avoid, especially those cut salads or cut fruits. You shouldn't avoid it. And the other things, food which are kept normally at a room temperature, like you say the pani puri or golgappas and this chaat and papadis and this outside juices also very dangerous, and these ganne ka juice are very dangerous. These things which are kept at room temperature and probably kept in not very hygienic conditions are the main things which harbor bacteria and cause infections, especially gastroenteritis. And in beverages, tea, coffees and alcohol, they also cause some kind of dehydration in the body. If possible, please avoid them or stop taking them in excessive amounts.
Right, Doctor, what are the first worrying signs to look out for that can help one understand the onset of a heat stroke?
Like once start losing a lot of water along with minerals from your body, first symptom you get is you feel exhausted and lack of energy and tiredness. And if it increases, dehydration increases, you start getting headache and vomiting, muscle cramps. And if it increases, increasing heart rate, increasing temperature, and if it goes unabated or temperature crosses 39 to 40 degrees, then you might get unconscious also. So these are the symptoms how they start.
Besides feeling dizzy and vomitish, are skin rashes too a sign of a heat stroke?
Yes, it could be, because what happens when your body is heated up, your blood vessels which are supplying to the periphery, the blood vessels which supply to the periphery of your body, they get dilated. So a lot of blood is diverted toward the periphery to increase the sweating, so the body gets cooled up. So in that relation, the rashes and the excessive redness of skin can appear there.
Right. How does one help a person suffering from heat stroke? What is the first aid for a heat stroke?
The first aid, and first and foremost, you have to cool the body immediately, whatever the way you can apply. Immediately move the person to the colder environment, loosen the clothes, and the best thing is apply some cold sponges. And normally what we ask, the right way to apply cold sponges is remove the clothes, keep on applying water with the clothes or the body, and keep on wiping it, and make sure the room temperature is good, the fan is on. So the water evaporates and body cools down. It's not just you keep a putty over the head and just watch it. You have to apply water with a cloth and keep on rubbing, keep on wiping it out again and again, so the water gets evaporated. That is the right way. And a cool environment is there. In case you think the patient is getting dizzy or something, please rush to the hospital, because the patient might be dehydrated. And in case he needs intravenous fluids as well as the electrolytes to balance the things.
Coconut water, etc., nimbu pani, some of
yes.
The first aid. What does one give a person who's suffering from a heat stroke?
Yeah, in the early stage, because once in a heat stage, probably stroke, you need to go rush to the hospital. But in the early stage, what are the methods to prevent, you can say, dehydration and heat stroke? Like must have plenty of water, and along with the water, you need some minerals also. Because when you sweat, you not only lose water, you lose minerals also. So if you are replacing it with only plain water, then your minerals might get diluted further. So best would be, I say, that what we call it nimbu ka pani. घर में जो शिकंजी बनाते हैं, you just have a glass of water, add some pinch of salt there, and half of the lemon, maybe half teaspoon of sugar as well, and keep on drinking it throughout the day. And don't wait to get thirsty to drink the water.
Right, a very important sign there, not to wait to get thirsty. Doctor, if you could also help us differentiate between heat exhaustion and a heat stroke.
The heat exhaustion is the early stage when you start getting dehydrated and your blood pressure starts dropping. Then you get like headache, vomiting, dizziness, muscle cramp. But if it increases to further limit and your body shoots up beyond 40 degrees, then your blood supply to the vital organs decreases because most of the blood is diverted towards the periphery, so it gets sweating. So your kidney and the other vital organs are shutting down. Then you can get seizures also because of less of water in the brain also, less of the fluid. So when you are in the stage of heat stroke, it is a real medical emergency. Then you need to rush to the hospital immediately.
Right, Doctor, moving away from a heat stroke, it's been very dusty in the northern part of the country, especially in Rajasthan, in Haryana as well as West Uttar Pradesh, in Delhi as well. What are the dangers of such dusty conditions which has led to a spike as far as PM10 levels are concerned?
Yeah, I think this is really a cause of concern for me as a pediatrician also, because we have a lot of kids who are suffering from the respiratory problems. So normally, kids who are suffering from bronchitis or bronchial asthma or seasonal respiratory problem, for them this is very, very bad, because not only pollution is there, because these kids have to go to schools and they play in the grounds also. And when you are breathing in such high pollutant area, so one, they get into your lungs and cause a lot of issues. Secondly, they can get your eyes and cause a lot of irritations. And plus these pollutants, when they are absorbed into blood also, they can cause a lot of irritation, dizziness, and exhaustion and other things.
Right. Thank you so much, Dr. Arun Gupta, for joining us and getting us all those do's and don'ts, especially when it comes to heat exhaustion and a heat stroke. Thank you for getting us all those details. With that, we're slipping into a very short break. Lots more coming up on the other side. Welcome back. Time to get you some sports news now. And after a fabulous season in IPL, questions around Faf du Plessis' return to South African team arises, and he says he's learned to be captain cool like Dhoni. Listen in.
Now, let's talk a little bit about cricket. At 38, you've been giving the 20-somethings real competition on the IPL stage. Tell us, what has it taken for you to be the top run scorer this season?
Yeah, I'm very motivated, so I think it's something that helps me a lot. You know, when people generally get to the latter end of their career, especially after international cricket, people see the T20 circuit more as having a bit of fun, enjoying their cricket with a little bit less pressure that you would find in international cricket.
Right.
Whereas I've looked at it and gone, I want to play cricket for as long as I want to play cricket for. So what do I need to do? I need to be looking after my fitness. So I need to be training harder or as hard as any young guy out there. I need to be healthy. So, the stuff that I eat is really important. I also, from a mental aspect, I'm probably much more wiser now than I was when I was playing international cricket, because I didn't really understand the power of the mind. So I think that's one of my biggest areas of growth that's happened in the last couple of years. And I also feel right now I'm in a really healthy state of life where I can have a balance of exactly what are the most important things to me. So, I can play the IPL now, and then after the IPL, it's my decision what I want to do next.
Now let's talk about another personality that India absolutely loves, and your current batting partner, Virat Kohli. How has it been opening the innings with Virat Kohli? What side of his personality has influenced you, or vice versa?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing about Virat is his passion, isn't it? I always admired playing against Virat, the amount of passion that he had for every wicket. Every time a wicket falls, he'd be on a 10 out of 10 for passion.
That's true. Yeah.
And I'll be just like, how on earth is this guy always so passionate? Like, even if a number 11 gets out, he's the same amount of passion. And every single time he plays a game, you see that same passion. So that for me was, I was in awe of the amount of passion that he had playing the game of cricket. And now being on the same team with him, I can tell you it's so much better playing with him than against him. Because when you're playing against him, sometimes that passion can fuel you as well. I've been on the other side of that. Whereas when you play with him, it's such a great thing to play with him. When I bat with him, opening the batting, and that passion, you feel that passion batting with him. And it's really, really infectious in the way that it makes you want to give your absolute best all the time as well. So, it's been great to know the player behind the cricket player, the person behind the cricket player. Extremely generous, kind-hearted man, also family-oriented like myself now. So we've become very good friends, and this year was amazing just for myself and my wife, Imri, to spend time with him and Anushka and, the kids being there. So just, I think we share a lot of similar interests. We've got, we're very family-driven, fashion, tattoos, all of those things, food. So we do have a lot of things in common.
Faf, you are in the form of your life right now. Are you not tempted to come out of retirement and play for South Africa in the 50-over World Cup that is going to happen later this year in India?
Yeah, as I said, it's a conversation where I feel like you got to look at the balance of your where I am at physically and emotionally and mentally. Right now, that balance is really good. So even at times where I feel like my body is getting sore and achy, then, like I said, there is that rest and recovery period. I have been struggling with a bit of tennis elbow for about a year now, and I've had some injections into that. So I think T20 cricket is possibly the format that allows me to play as often as I want. So 50-over cricket is a different story. Obviously, that's a longer format. You're a lot more in the field. So it's great. I'm very grateful that the new coach has reached out to me to tell me that he would like me part of. So at the moment, for us, it's just conversations, just to talk about physically where I'm at. So we'll cross that bridge after the IPL and moving into the latter part of the year. But I think more than anything, we've spoken about the T20 World Cup next year in July, which is something that we both want to make happen. So I think that will be the focus point.